One. Good evening, Winchester. Good evening to everyone on the internet, if we're on the internet right now. Welcome to Visual Radio Live. December 26th, 2013. Hope everyone had a great Christmas. And of course, you can all recite it with me. The views and opinions on Visual Radio are those of the host, Joe Vig, and his guests, Gary DeCarlo of Steam and Frank Delastrito, and not necessarily those of Winchester Community Access and Media. The board of directors, the staff, the members, the people of Winchester. As Patti Smith says, my sins are my own, they belong to me. What song was that? I think it's Gloria. I think she does the Van Morrison tune, Gloria, and she adds that little line, my sins are my own, they belong to me. I saw Patti Smith on the 16th. Of course, I saw her in 76 back at Paul's Mall. But I'm looking at the clock. When you see my head go like that, I'm looking at the clock. It's 8:01. I saw Patti Smith at the Lou Reed Memorial in New York at the Apollo Theater. That's Thor or Odin up there with the light. So is this lovely, wonderful, respectful memorial concert that I discussed last week. We get Christmas cards. Oh, let's see. Steve Hawley and his girlfriend Marie Claire. Dear Joe, hope 2014 is wonderful. Cheers, Steve and Marie Claire. Christmas 2013. And Bob Boyd writes to me and the roommate from his wife. And furry ones to our kitties. Thanks for your continued friendship. All the best in the new year, Bob and Denise. These came in today. So if you think that UPS has problems and FedEx with the post office was just as behind schedule. Okay, and this is from Angel Connell, a filmmaker. We've got to have Angel on the air. We've got to have Angel on the air. Angel Connell and his wife. Oh, they usually send photos of the kids and everyone. I hope all is well with you. Hopefully, we'll reconnect in 2014. Yep, our family wishes you an enjoyable Christmas and joyous New Year. So this is the Connells. Perusian Pictures. I wrote a story about him years ago, and he still remembers me. I love getting these missives. Usually get the missives from Canada, from Robert Francos and his wife Marie. We'll leave the missive there. Okay. January 9th, January 9th, we'll be on the air. We're preempted on the 16th for a board meeting right here. And if you come down, you might get some free pizza. But anyways, this is really important, and WinCAM put this out. Senators Tammy Baldwin and Edward Markey preserve public access to local television. Let me tell you something. Ed Markey's office, I go in there. There's no access in Medford, and that's where his office was, on top of the access station. You cannot believe the article I'm going to write. And to Senator Clark and to Congressman Clark, she was a senator. Now she's the congresswoman. And Congressman Markey's now the senator. Okay, they switched seats. He went up higher up in the Senate. She was in a lowly Senate seat, went up to Congress. It's kind of like going up the ladder if you're on the Heron Run at Mystic Lakes, okay? The political Heron Run. Enough of this. We're going to talk to Gary DeCarlo. Enough of the buffoonery. Hope it's the right number. One ringy dingy. Two ringy dingies.
Hello.
Is this the party to whom I am speaking?
I think it is.
That's an old Lily Tomlin line.
Yeah.
I met her. She was very nice, Gary. Gary DeCarlo's on the phone, people. Gary DeCarlo, good friend of the show, who's been on many times. Gary, I saw her at Symphony Hall, and she signed everyone's album after the show.
Really?
Which you do, right? You always say hi to the fans.
Hello.
You don't run off in the limo, right? Well, after the PBS thing, this was a big year for you, 2013, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm starting to get some attention, and I'm happy about what's happening. I obviously would like to be doing some more shows and stuff, but I'm happy with what's happened. Yes.
Well, this is a very special weekend. I'm so honored that you're calling in tonight because it was how many years ago tonight that you knocked the Beatles out of #1 this week?
44 years.
44 years ago, Gary DeCarlo and Nana Hey Hey Kiss 'Em Goodbye kissed goodbye to come together in something, correct?
Yes.
Off of Abbey Road. That is such a monumental achievement.
Yeah, I never thought that would happen, Joe. I felt that we had gone as high as we were going to go, and it happened. I was shocked, but I was happy, but it was a double-edged sword for me because I wasn't on the road with the record, and I was happy that it went #1, but yet I wasn't happy because it wasn't me that the people were seeing.
Well, we have to look at the positive. Everyone now knows that you're the singer, and the PBS special gave you your just reward, I think. Everyone now knows it's Gary DeCarlo.
Not everyone, but a lot of people do, and yes, you're right. I have said this to several people lately that thanks to T.J. Lubinsky and Henry DeLuca putting me on that show, people realize that is me singing.
And thanks to Charles Rosenay, we're in touch.
Yes.
Great Charles Rosenay.
Oh, yeah, Charles has helped me and had me do some things for him. And as a matter of fact, he called me a couple of weeks ago and he asked me if I would do there's a Beatles thing coming up. I believe it's January 19th. It's supposed to be in New York City. It's the 50th anniversary of the Beatles. And he asked me to learn a Beatles song that I liked and asked me to do it. I guess I don't know all the details to it, but it's supposed to be televised, and it's going to be in New York City. It's supposed to be a symphony orchestra also. So
now this isn't at the Apollo, is it?
Joe, I don't really know. I don't think he told me the venue. I know that it's supposed to be in New York City. That's all I was told.
Because on February 6th, Kitoto von Hebb, the daughter of Bobby Hebb, will be singing Sunny at the Apollo Theater with one of Charles Rosenay's shows.
Oh, no kidding.
Because her dad toured with the Beatles in '66. He did Sunny on the tour, of course. It was #1 in Cashbox, #2 in Billboard. And as you know, I'm producing Kitoto in the studio right now. We've got Steve Hawley's on drums from Elton John and Paul McCartney's band. And David Maxwell, the great keyboard player from Freddie King and Muddy Waters. And Thomas Hebb, Bobby's nephew. And Jerry Bodwin, who plays with Jay Giles and played with Bobby. So it's a really stellar cast.
Yeah, it sounded.
I got to have you come up and hear the tapes. We got to get you to Boston again. That's what we got to do. And we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you, but I want to keep it laid back tonight. I'm playing out on January 18th, a Saturday night. What do you think of that?
What is that? I don't know.
I started as a performer. I had 4 albums out in Paris.
Right.
You didn't know that, maybe?
No, I didn't know that at all. No.
Yeah, I had 4 records out, and I met Jimmy Miller of the Stones, and I got into the business side rather than and into writing because, I played over 1,000 shows, But
Wow.
Saturday night at midnight, we're going to do the Velvet Underground's second album in its entirety. And then in February, I should do the whole Steam album in its entirety.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the Steam album.
All right, I'll stick with the Velvet Underground. But it's kind of exciting because there's a song called The Gift, which isn't a song, it's just music, and John Cale talking over the music for the whole length of the song. It's a story, a narrative. It's fascinating. And I better have it all printed out so I can recite it and read from it, you know, because who's going to memorize the whole thing? It ought to be fun. And, you know, you're always welcome to come up here. We'll have to get you a Learjet to come up to all these shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I did want to talk about your Ohio show.
Yeah, I did it was a benefit for Sonny Geraci.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, from, you know, obviously from the Outsiders, and quite a few people showed up. It was a great weekend, Joe. I tell you, everybody came there and sang their heart out, man, for Sonny, and you know, everything was donated to Sonny and his family. Things were sold there. You know, we were signing shirts and guitars, and it was a lot of fun. I met a lot of nice people, and you know, I'm just happy that it turned out well. You know, Sonny got they brought him in, and he saw us, and we sang "Time Won't Let Me." Everybody that was in the show was on the stage, and he was just sitting there, and man, you could see he was really excited about it.
He was in another band too.
Yeah, Climax.
Precious and Few.
Yes.
I believe I've seen him in concert here in Boston.
Yeah, very talented. He sang well, and he was you know, very good on stage too. Dennis Stefano too. He's actually one of the guys that put it together. Him and this woman Ray Antonucci that put it together for him. And Dennis is good too. Dennis is very good from the Buckinghams. He was the lead singer on all the hits.
Buckinghams were amazing. The song Susan is brilliant.
Yeah, well, Dennis is going through pretty much the same thing like me, you know, because the Buckinghams, I guess, own the name, and they're performing around the country, and they're doing the songs, but Dennis is actually the lead singer, you know, and he's not really getting the credit that he deserves.
Wow.
So, yeah, you hear all these stories, you know, so.
Well, you know, Time Won't Let Me. How about Time Has Come Today? The Chambers Brothers, I guess they didn't get their royalties on the recordings.
Really?
I'm reading that on my Facebook. They had one of the guys. It is so difficult, this industry. People don't realize it isn't all millions of dollars in limos.
Oh, no, absolutely not. They see you on stage, and, you know, they don't realize the amount of rehearsing and, you know, buggy lugging and the traveling, and just a whole lot of stuff that goes into it before you get on that stage. But, you know, if you love it, you do it.
Now, do you remember the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie Time Cop?
Yes, yeah, I do, yes.
So at the end of it is Time Won't Let Me, appropriately enough.
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't sound like Sonny Geraci to me singing. I wonder if they redid it for the movie.
Yeah,
you know,
that's very possible. I don't know. I never really paid attention to that.
Yeah, because it comes on and it's like, oh, gee, why didn't they use the original record? But I'm hoping it's Sonny. Now, in Generations, the Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. It's not Generations. It's maybe it is Generations. It's the Star Trek: The Next Generation. As they're going up in the spacecraft with the founder of Light Warp Speed, they do Magic Carpet Ride, and it's John Kay, but it's not the original Steppenwolf recording. You can tell it's John Kay's voice. It's definitely a new recording. I guess for the movies they want upgraded sound. I'm sorry, the original's still the greatest. You know, Nana Hey Hey Kiss 'Em Goodbye is a classic song.
Yeah,
when you did a new version which breathes new life into it, but you didn't copy the original.
Yeah, I'm getting very, very good response from it, Joe. A lot of people, it's being played on a lot of oldie stations, and what they're doing is they're playing the old one, and, you know, and they're playing the new one, and people are responding and saying that they pretty much like them equally. They realize that I'm not trying to replace the old one. That was not my mission. I wanted to just bring it out into a different flavor and involve like the dance people and stuff. You know, people that like to get on a dance floor and have a good time.
I have some homework for you for the new year.
What?
Here's my idea for your new single. If you go into the film commissions of different states, like the Massachusetts Film Bureau,
Yeah.
Connecticut must have one, you can find people making movies, and you should pitch them that you got a brand new, modern version of Na Na Hey Hey, and see if you can get it in some films.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because a lot of people don't know about these film bureaus, but what they do is they bring movies into the States. And of course, if you can get a movie into Boston instead of Canada, where in Canada the tax rates are real low to be attractive to the filmmakers.
Yeah.
They of course make better tax credits to keep it in Boston or Connecticut. So you want to look up Connecticut Film Bureau or talk to Charles down there and see about it. And if it's close to your house, I'd actually go in and visit them and tell the people running the Film Bureau, hey, look, this is who I am. I was on PBS. Here's a new version that's perfect for the current films because it's got a modern sound. And that's the pitch.
Yeah. They've made several movies here in the past few years. You know, in Bridgeport, Danbury, Stamford, Greenwich. You know, there's a lot of film people here living in those areas,
and
especially in Greenwich.
People don't get it that's why they're not recording in L.A. or in Florida, Miami Beach, because those areas have been kind of overexposed.
Yeah.
And everyone and his brother wants the film crews to come in because, you know, I'm in Winchester. You were in the studio.
Right.
We're in the high school. Now, there was a film here with Tobey Maguire and another famous actress. They filmed right next to us, so all the film crews were in the parking lot this year. Right here in Winchester, Mass. So they are looking for new territory. They want new images instead of the same old L.A., sets.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I know. I understand what you're saying.
And if you Google the reason why they're coming to Connecticut or Boston, you can see it's usually tax credits. The hotels want them. The cabs want them. There's a lot of money to be made from these film crews coming into different cities and towns.
Right.
And it's fun. I think it's great for the film goers because they actually get to, meet the stars sometimes.
Yeah, I know a few people that did do that. I have a friend of mine that has a radio show, and he was actually in a movie. I guess they filmed in, I think in Stamford not too long ago. I think Robert De Niro was in it. They put him in as an extra.
I think it's just kind of neat. If they're in your area, present the song to them, and I bet they might say, this is perfect, because everyone knows your song.
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, Joe, the people that I've been in contact with, I'm picking up a couple of radio stations almost every day, or at least making contact with someone. And, some of the guys that have the oldies shows said they won't play it because it doesn't fit their format, which I understand. And and I told them, well, if I'm not going to hold a grudge because it's their format, and I understand that. But I just figured I'd take a shot and ask them, and most of them, I would say, 95 to 98% of them say that let me hear it and I will play it. Cool.
That is so tough in this time because in Boston it's very difficult for a lot of the stations are run by consultants. Even though they have a music director and a program director, it's the consultants.
I know how that works, man. It has to go through that music director, and a lot of times they won't play it.
But even the music directors seem almost powerless because they're paying these consultants to tell them from Texas what to play in Boston, which I think is absurd.
Really?
Yeah, they hire consultants now, and that's what you really need to do. You need to hit the consultants up the radio consultants and pitch to them because they're the ones who make a lot of the decisions. And the music directors and program directors are marginalized in 2013. Marginalized. People don't...
How do you find them, Joe?
Huh?
How do you find the consultants? I mean, they're not listed under consultants, right?
No, but it's easy enough. I can do a little research. I was in business with a radio DJ years and years ago, and Gary Guthrie was the consultant, and we were at the Hard Rock Cafe. This is 1989, 1990. And he said, Joe, I was at this Bob Seger concert, and they were swaying to this song of his. And I said, I got to put more Seger. And I'm thinking, Gary, you're from Texas, and we're in Boston. And when I walk down the street, I hear the cars blasting out of people's car windows. You got to walk down the street in the region, and they want the cars here. You know, Bob Seger, fine, play a couple of tunes. But they beat Bob Seger into the ground, and this is Cars, Aerosmith, Jay Giles territory. Let's face it, you know, it's that regional music resonates with Boston more than Seger, all due respect to Bob. And you being from Connecticut, you know, that's a good pitch for this region, I think.
Yeah. As I said, I think that I feel this is a hit. I feel it in my bones. All it needs is the exposure. If it gets the proper exposure, I think it could be a very, very big recording.
And it's called Na Hey Hey Kiss 'Em Goodbye, right?
No, I just call it Nana.
Nana. So it's just called Nana.
Nana. I was saying Nana 2013, but it's the end of 2013. So I just call it Nana. It's dance in parentheses. Nana dance.
Oh, I like it. That's cool.
Yeah.
And have you recorded other songs?
Yeah, I'm on my sixth song I'm making a CD, and I'm making it. It's going to be just 8 songs. I'm just going to do a small one, and I'll do like 7 up-tempo things and 1 ballad. That's it. And I'd see what happens. I'm hoping now. I have something that I really can't, get into saying. But if something turns out the way I'm hoping it does in January, it could be a pretty good thing for me, record-wise, and I'm hoping that through this and people hear it.
Well, speaking of things happening for you, Joe Tortelli's been working earnestly on your book.
Yeah, absolutely. I talked to him this morning.
Oh, how is he?
He's good. He said that, he's waiting, I guess. He's going to have to buy a new tower, I guess, for the computer, because, he spoke to the fellow and he said it wasn't worth fixing it because he could basically get a new one, just a tower, because he has the rest of the stuff that he needs.
I've been sending him Micro Center stuff. Micro Center up here is wonderful. Do you have one down there?
No.
Well, we're nonprofit, so I'm not going to endorse anyone. So forget that I said that. But I'll talk to you offline. There are great places to find computers, and he's got to get his computer active because he's working on your book. So.
Hey. Yeah, I gave him the information that he wanted to. He asked about the address to the house and about the movie theaters and, a few other things. And I gave him my number and stuff, and he said, if he ever wants to call me, ask me anything, just give me a call.
So the recordings, who are you recording with?
I'm recording at my bass player's house. My bass player has a studio in his house. And they're coming out good. And now what I'm doing is I'm mastering them at another recording studio here in Shelton, which is Long Hill Recording. And this guy, Paul, is very good, man, in the studio. Paul Opelek. He's got good ears, and he's good on the board, and it's coming along well.
Now, is it you and your bass player? Or do you bring people in?
No, my bass player and my guitar player and me, that's it. for right now. I have a drummer, and I also have a keyboard player.
Wow. Sounds like fun. Now, you didn't bring them out to Ohio, though, right?
No, they just flew me out. It's too expensive, for them to bring the band out with me, so they just wanted to keep the expense down. And I worked with the house band, whatever band they put together for me. It was great, though, Joe. I had like 5 horns behind me, and a good, solid rhythm section. The one drummer on Friday night, let's see, he used to work with, who did he work with? One drummer, I think Saturday night, worked with the Eagles. The other one worked with, I'll get it sooner or later. I can't remember. Big people, the Eagles and somebody else very big. I don't know. I don't remember.
And you played somewhere other than Ohio recently. Where was that?
Yeah, the month before that, I was in Jackson, Tennessee. Again, for this fella, Jerry Hunt. He has a large radio station down there, and he puts on like 2 shows a year. And I went down there. We had a great time there too. Ron Dante was on the show. Billy Joe Royal. It was a good time.
I love Ron Dante. I love Ron Dante.
Yeah, Ron Dante's a good guy, man. He puts on a nice show too, and he's doing very well for himself.
Now he does his Archie's hit, and he does his Love Grows Where Rosemary Goes, right?
Yeah,
But he doesn't do a Barry Manilow medley, does he?
No, not at all. No.
He produced a lot of Barry Manilow.
No, I know that.
Yeah. So that song Mandy, Scott English, Richard Kerr, what a song.
Absolutely.
And it was Brandy originally.
The name Kyle Vincent that did Mandy, and I guess he has done it at a lot of shows, and he does it well too.
Ron Dante does?
No, Kyle Vincent.
I don't know him.
No, we met. Matter of fact, I flew down with him, and we hung out together, and then we flew back. So I got to know him. He was in the Philippines, I guess, not too long ago when they had that typhoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the Philippines, and they were putting a show together in Los Angeles for the all the people, with all the devastation there. And I guess they had a problem with ticket sales, so they postponed it now. And I guess it'll be maybe in the summer again.
Now, who is Kyle Vincent? Was he the lead singer of Scott English's band, or?
No. He's just someone that's in the business, and he sings well. He's a nice guy and everything, personable, and he just goes around and does these shows because the people like him. He worked with I can't think of the name of the group.
But he didn't have a hit with Mandy.
No.
Oh, he just sings it.
Sings it, yes.
Yeah, it's a great song. It's just
really well. I can't remember the group. They were the band jumped around and everything. They were back in the I think in the 70s or the 80s. I can't think of it, Joe.
That's okay. I was down in the basement last night. I found another copy of Na Na Hey Hey. Pretty funny.
Did you?
Yeah, because I'm organizing my house. I have, I started my TV career in '79, such as it is, public access, right?
Yeah.
But I have VHS tapes galore. You can imagine, thousands around the house, my bedroom, the living room. So this Christmas, on Christmas Eve, I cleaned out all the VHS tapes out of my bedroom. There might be 20, 30 left, right? Put them in storage. Thousands in the basement. I mean, they have to be transferred. It's so much work. But get them out of the house, put them in storage, have some breathing room in the living room and in the bedroom,
Yeah, Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just, I'm finding stuff. Now that I'm pulling the VHS tapes out, I didn't realize what clutter they were. And now my albums are organized and my books, and I feel so much more comfortable
Yeah.
with all my goodies. So I got your 45 next to a Velvet Underground Greatest Hits.
Well, the one that you found, is that the original Nana?
Yeah, it's the original, whatever, blue label,
Yeah, Fontana.
Yeah. So I have a couple of them anyway, and, we got another record show coming up. You're always invited to come up to them, February 23rd.
Yeah.
I'll find some more there, I'm sure. We go looking. I love vinyl. I'm glad vinyl's coming back.
Yeah, I've seen and I've heard that. I still have a ton of 45s and albums in vinyl. I like them too. They don't bother me. I mean, the digital stuff is very clean, and I enjoy it when you put headphones and stuff on. But the albums and stuff didn't really bother me that much. The only problem with them was you had to get up or to change to put different albums on and everything. Whereas with the digital, I mean, you could listen to a couple of thousand songs.
I have a John Lee Hooker 45 on Battle Records. And my friend Bobby Hebb played on some John Lee Hooker. We can't find it. But this Battle record is the record before Bobby Hebb's record on Battle with Sylvia Robinson. Remember Pillow Talk?
Yes.
And Love is Strange, which is in Men in Black 3. So Mickey and Sylvia.
Right, yeah, I remember that too.
So it was Bobby and Sylvia, and they did a single for Battle. So I'm thinking, we couldn't find the Excello recordings, and I'm thinking maybe I got wrong information. It must be he recorded with John Lee on Battle. So I have the 45. Now I have one of those turntables you can transfer from 45 to CD.
Oh, yeah,
But I'm afraid to use it because this is a rare single. I'm thinking I better go to a master engineer and let them handle it, right? Because it could be the only fragment we have of Bobby playing with John Lee.
Oh, yeah.
I got a single, Bo Diddley, Bobby playing spoons with him.
Okay.
Well, I'm doing the box set, so I'm in the middle of finding all these rarities and thinking, what do I put on, what do I leave off? For volume one, because you only got so much space. But, it's I love going through all these archives and hearing things and piecing it together.
Yeah, well, obviously Bobby did a heck of a lot more stuff than I did, so I'm sure that you can find much more of him and to be able to put together whatever packages that you want. And, my stuff is pretty limited.
But we really need to see an overview of Gary DeCarlo with all of the singles you issued and with any master tapes that can be tracked down, because your work is important. And it would be nice to have a comprehensive, 2-disc set, even with some live material.
Oh yeah, I had about 8 or 9 singles on YouTube, but the guy's site got hacked, and he was only able to put 3 up, and that was it. I don't really know how to do this. I'm gonna have to learn to be able to put this stuff up myself. I don't know how to do it.
Well, we'll talk offline because I'm not going to mention any of the sites, but there are sites where you can find your singles if you don't have all of them.
Yeah.
And then they have to be
I have the 45s, but I'm saying I don't know how to put them up. Even onto my Facebook and stuff, or even onto YouTube.
Oh, we have a fellow here at WinCAM, Joe LaRocco, who made a little movie for me. He put up one of my singles, There's Nothing Like a Hit, and he put a film behind it. So he created this really lovely black and white dazzling thing, and then my image, and he created the film, and then over the film he was able to put the audio. Because with YouTube, you got to have a movie.
Yeah.
Even if it's just an image of you with stuff floating around behind it. And so I'll send you it so you can see what he did. And if you've got some friends in the studio that are web savvy, you need to just find a video film. Even if you had film of you singing live, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm in the process of doing a video for Na Na Now, the dance version. We're just coming up with a concept, and we shot a couple of things last week, and now we're just kicking around some other things, and basically we're going to do pretty much like what you're talking about. When we had some shots of me on stage, and then obviously I'll be singing to what we're going to do is what the concept was me singing, and then there was going to be the guy and the girl, and it was going to be black and white, and it's going to look like an old vintage shot, whereas I'm singing to her and telling her years ago not to go with this guy and to leave him, as opposed to me singing now to a young girl.
Got it. Well, I got some advice for you on making a film.
Well,
Two pieces of advice. One, if you have some footage of you live in a club that you're happy with,
yeah.
you can put it onto, if you have a Mac computer, the Mac computer should have iMovie. So you pull up the iMovie thing and you upload from your camera the video of you live in concert.
I see, yeah.
Then you can put the audio on top of so you have a second copy now because you just took it from the camera into the iMovie. You then put the studio version over the iMovie, and you actually have your studio tape found a film, if you will. So you can put a song up, and then you can also just do freeze frames, so they just see your photo. They don't have to watch the whole performance.
Yeah, I was thinking of that too. Also, I'm supposed to have somebody sending me a video from the Streetsboro show that of my show, and I was thinking of using that. Not the sound, but just the video, depending on how clear it is.
Now the new PCs also have the PC version of what iMovie is on the Macs. So if you've got that on your computer, you might, maybe your daughter can help you. You can be all set with the program that helps you transfer this stuff. But here's my second piece of advice. I have a flyer here that WinCAM gave us. U.S. Senators Tammy Baldwin and Ed Markey preserve public access to local television. There must be an access station in your region that you could join, and they can teach you how to upload.
Oh, really?
Sure, they're nonprofits like you were here. These are nonprofits, non-commercial stations. But I'm a big believer in public access, so you go there and, it's $25 for members to join here at this nonprofit. So we pay annually $25, and we get to use the equipment, and we get to create our shows. Now, you got to create a show that you can air. So you got to do the Gary DeCarlo hour. Mm-hmm. And you can have guests on too, and then you can say, okay, here's my new video, and you can upload it, but they'll teach you how to upload your video. So I'll look around the web to see what's in your area, because I'm a big believer in public access and proponent of it, if you will. So you did a couple of shows recently, and you've got a band. And are you practicing the band, or are you just working on the album?
No, just working on the album now, because the guys work. They have a little unit themselves, and plus, because it's so hard to get jobs, they also play with other bands. But I figure once something starts to shake, most of the time, Joe, when I get hired just for me, because they don't want to pay to fly the band or whatever.
Oh, it's so cost prohibitive these days.
Yeah, because it's tough out there. So I figure that if I can get something shaking around, we have a fella that books 3 or 4 pretty good sized venues here, and we're going to turn around and talk to him once this gets done, and I'll see what I could put together. Possibly put a little 60s type show together, and work it around the venues and see how it works out. Plus, I got something happening with Mohegan Sun that if it comes together, that could be pretty nice too.
Oh, I'd love to come down to it. Love to come down to it if you're playing. So let us know.
Absolutely, Joe. I will, definitely.
So, is there a working title on the CD?
No, I haven't gotten to that point yet. No, I don't know. I was thinking of long time between drinks. I don't know.
I like that. I like that. That's good. Lou Reed said, first thought, best thought. That's the way Lou Reed would write. First thought, best thought. You could have the 8-song EP, if you will, and then have a live disc. And so there could be like a double disc and then 2 single discs. That's always fun.
Yeah, you know, believe me, I haven't gotten to that point to where it's totally done, and then, you know, and speak to the people that I'm supposed to speak to in January and see what happens with that too, and see if they have any ideas. But you know, I'm at this point, I'm just looking to go forward, continue to write and perform and produce and stuff, and just have some fun, man.
Now, in the 90s and in the early 2000s, did you make any tapes that we don't know about?
No, I was doing some recordings up here, but I did them. I had an 8-track reel-to-reel, and what happened was all the tapes disintegrated on me.
Did you get rid of them?
No, I still have them.
Okay, so what you do is you bake them. Do you know about that?
No.
Okay, we'll talk off the air because I have an engineering guy that bakes them. And I bake my tapes and then I put them on DVD and you can use them again.
No kidding.
But you can only do it once or twice. So what they do is he bakes them in a convection oven, believe it or not.
No kidding.
Yeah, and then they can roll them off once or twice and that's it. But I always hold on to the master tapes after the baking. Now, here's a real interesting thing. Rob Fraboni, Rolling Stones producer, lives near you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Rob told me, well, he's down in Weston. Are you down near there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Weston's not that far from here.
So Rob told me that when the major labels transferred all of their masters to mini DV, right?
Yeah.
DAT tape, DAT tape, digital audio tape. They destroyed the masters. It's like these film companies getting rid of Gone with the Wind. They're out of their minds.
Whoa.
You know,
why would they do that?
Because they're insane. They save on storage at Gold Mountain. They're paying Gold Mountain up in upstate New York anyway, right? So
yeah.
Rather than store the stuff, they destroy it. Now, come on. You got the Gone with the Wind film and you've made your digital transfer. Put it on eBay. Let some film collector store it, right?
Yeah.
Because destroying it is insane. I pay so much every month to store my tapes. People don't understand. My tapes are valuable to me. Even after I've transferred them, I keep the original masters. And you know, it was only the 1980s and 90s that this tape got bad. I just did some transfers on 1960s tapes that were amazingly perfect. They're in perfect condition, Gary. Do you remember Cy Coleman, The Best Is Yet to Come?
Yeah.
Witchcraft, he wrote for Sinatra?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was honored to be able to do the transfer for these Cy Coleman tapes. The great Cy Coleman, it's like I'm in awe that I'm touching these things, right?
Yeah.
The 60s, they didn't disintegrate because the formulas back then were wonderful for the tape. We transferred it without a hitch, and it's magnificent. The sound is amazing. It's Cy Coleman doing Bobby Hebb's Sonny. I've got like 12 different takes of it.
Wow.
And you hear Cy Coleman doing mix after mix of this classic song because he was the publisher. Okay?
Yeah.
And, you know, I got to touch these tapes, I got to transfer them, and they're just immaculate. No baking, as they were made, and probably never played in 40, 50 years.
Wow, that's funny. What did they do to the tapes that made them so that they disintegrate.
I think Agfa was the company that started with this formula. There's a formula they came up with in the 80s, and it got gooey. And as you know, you're rearranging magnetic particles.
Yeah.
As it got gooey, the particles would cling to the reverse of the tape. You got the obverse and the reverse, right?
Yeah, my heads were always
Flaking.
dirty. Yeah, and then you try to clean them, and they would clean a little bit, and then you'd see all these little particles all
Those particles are your music.
fall off the tape. It was.
So you stop recording, and you put the tape back in the box, and you bake them. Okay. Now, the Velvet Underground, they had an album after, I think it was after the third Velvet Underground album. The album VU, it's called. Bill Levinson at Polygram had to take the tape and literally turn it upside down and record the 24-track onto another 24-track. Or it might not have been a 24, it might have been an 8-track tape, whatever it was in the day. They flipped it over and made a copy because it was all reverse. All the goose stuff went to the other side of the tape, so they had to do it backwards. Then, I don't know if they flipped that tape over. I got an article that was written on it and told the whole process of this craziness of baking it, flipping it over, and taking the information from the reverse of the tape.
Wow, that's amazing.
You got to be careful with them, but you save them. You save them. You don't throw them away. You keep them in a cool, dry place. But we got to resurrect the 80s and 90s Gary DeCarlo.
Yeah.
We got to resurrect. Now you know there's a way to do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, Joe, I'm just looking to do some shows, man, and have some fun. Meeting a lot of nice people, and it's been a long time coming.
Well, we're going to stay in close touch over the new year.
All right, great.
I got to talk to my film critic now. I'm so honored that on the 44th anniversary of you hitting #1, you called into our little show.
All right.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Happy New Year to you and yours.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Gary DeCarlo. Nana, hey, kiss him goodbye. Views and opinions on visual radio are mine and my guests, not necessarily those of WinCAM. We don't endorse anyone. If we talk about tape or anything, we're just talking about it. We're not endorsing. So there's my disclaimer. Time to talk to Frank, who I think is in Key West, but I'm not sure. He'll tell us. Hello, Frank. Uh-oh. We got a bad signal.
Hi, Joe. Joe, are you there?
Hey, we're there.
All right.
Hey, you sound nice and clear.
Yeah, I'm in Key Largo. The weather's clear. The signal's aren't. But what can I do about that?
Where's Key Largo?
Key Largo is, if you go to Miami, if you drive down south to Miami and keep going, not too far, you're in the Florida Keys, and the first of the big keys is Key Largo, and the last is Key West.
Oh, I got divorced in Key West.
Did you?
Well, kind of, sort of, not really. We broke up down there.
Okay.
Wasn't married, but, it was, we'll always have Key West, me and whomever.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Well, elaborate on that if you want. It's up to you.
But Key Largo is a song, and so that's the first of the keys. See, it's been so long ago, I forgot.
All right. Well, I don't think she's forgotten you, Joe.
They never do. That's all I'll say. They never do. Key Largo, what are you doing down there? What's the fun happening thing?
Oh, let's see. Well, we got family in Florida, so we came to Florida for family for Christmas, and then I've never been to the Florida Keys, so we came down here. It's I think the fun things are everything I don't do. There's a lot of fishing and a lot of beach stuff and all that. But we're going to drive to Key West tomorrow. All I can say is this is a great time of year to be here, except the hotel rates go really high.
Oh.
So I'm paying through the nose for this room, and I couldn't afford Key Largo. Key Largo, the cheapest room we could find was $500 a night.
Oh my God. Whoa.
I imagine there's cheaper ones, but they were all gone. So Key Largo really broke the bank. I couldn't afford to go any further to sleep.
I was gonna stay over in New York. It would have been $100 at the. I won't even say the name of it, but I came back on the train. I just came back.
Yeah, I mean these cities, you got to be prepared to spend it. You can't, because I should say this is their busy season. This is when all we Yankees. I'm a former Yankee, but you're a Red Sox. But all the Northerners come down here. You see a lot more Ontario plates than you see Florida plates sometimes, and so that's what's driving the room rates up. I'm told it's really cheap if you come down in the summer, but in the summer, because it's very hot and humid. And we took a trip through the Everglades today, and when we entered the park, it said mosquitoes, moderate.
I love it.
We got in the car, and we have to be bitten about 20 times instead of this is moderate. I'd hate to see heavy. So it's cheap. I mean, you can come down and stay in the Keys cheap if you're really willing to put up with some misery.
All right, we got 4 minutes to talk about The Outlaw.
The Outlaw, one of the most notorious movies of the 1940s, because Howard Hughes did a very public search for to be put it bluntly, a large-breasted woman, and he found Jane Russell, who would have a long career in Hollywood, but he found her age 21, and this was her big break, and he filmed The Outlaw, and I'm sure some of your listeners will know. He had a special bra designed to enhance her appearance. Not that she needed it. She refused to wear it because it was so damn uncomfortable. But she didn't need it. And this was notorious. So he made it in 1941, and he hit censorship problem after censorship problem. It finally premiered in 1943, and it was shut. I think it premiered in San Francisco, which we think of as a liberal town now. But it was shut down after a week then. It didn't play again until 1946. And it's all sorts of legends as to what was filmed. There's supposedly a 20-minute sex scene between Jane Russell and Jack Butel, who plays Billy the Kid in the movie. Now, I think by 1940 standards, what they consider the sex scene would impress us as rather tastefully suggestive. But if it was ever made, I mean, and then you just stack the legends about this movie one on top of the other. I've never seen it. The movie as it is almost 2 hours long, and there's nothing approaching what we would call a sex scene in there. There's some suggestive scenes. Some I would say were mildly erotic by our standards, but this was hot stuff. And in the motion of the movie, the posters, he was accentuating you-know-what on Jane Russell. So this made this movie famous and made her a star years before it ever really came out because of the censorship problems.
Was it her first movie?
Yeah, I think it was her first movie. If not, it was her first movie of any note. She was only 21, and she would not make another movie again for 5 years because both she and the guy that played Billy the Kid, Jack Butel, were put under contract by Howard Hughes, and he had this habit of putting people under contract, paying them their salary every week, and not letting them work. Because once you're in the contract, you can only work on what you're assigned to, and he wouldn't give them any assignments. So he basically sat on the shelf for 5 years until their contracts expired. She went on to become a star. She was Gentlemen Prefer Blondes with Marilyn Monroe is probably her most famous film after this one. And he basically had no career. He did some television work in the 1950s, but he disappeared. For all its hoopla, it is a kind of a weird film to watch because Howard Hawks started directing it. So there was a falling out of some type between Howard Hawks and Howard Hughes. It might have been something as simple as a schedule conflict. It might have been too much interference. Again, you can take your pick. Unless you really get into it, you're not going to know. And so Howard Hughes took over the directing of the movie, and the movie seems kind of weird. You wish they tightened it up. The scenes seem to go on too long. If you gave me the print, I'd say cut a half hour of that. Make the conversations tighter. Make the scenes move a bit faster. So it seems to drag for a movie that was supposed to be so erotic. It's really has a lot of stretches in it. But it was a landmark movie at breaking down barriers et cetera, et cetera.
And that's our time tonight. Enjoy Key Largo.
I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Views and opinions on Visual Radio are mine, not my guests. We do no endorsements here, except for the movie tomorrow night, which is public domain. Reeling is next. Thank you, WinCAM. Sean O'Brien. Thank you. Good night.